This is Get to Know the Royals. This week's episode, Rob Tate, head men's wrestling coach here at Queen's University of Charlotte, in his third season as the head man. And thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, Mike. No, it's good to be with you guys.
Well, you grew up close to Charlotte, East Gaston High School, where you were a wrestler there, 211 career wins. That's still top 10 in Charlotte history, two-time All-American. So, how early in your life did you kind of know you were meant to be a wrestler?
Well, I was about 93 pounds going into ninth grade, so I knew I really wasn't suited for much else. My football career was done at that point, and I don't know. It kind of stuck. My mom will tell you the story that it's about the only thing I could focus on for longer than about 10 minutes. So I don't know, man. It kind of stuck. I remember, we didn't have a lot of wrestling clubs around the area growing up. We got a lot more now. Wrestling's just booming. But when I was growing up, the only person I got to wrestle was my dad in the living room. So it was still fun though, every kid grows up wrestling their dad, and I was just very lucky that they fostered that for me. So
Yeah, absolutely. Then you wrestled at Gardner Webb in school. And, at what point did you kind of think, because obviously, wrestling's such a technical sport. And, at what point did you think, oh man, I can coach these, I can coach this too? When did you kind of start to think that a career coaching wrestling was also along the lines for you in the future?
I would say that I wanted to from as soon as I started, I guess, as soon as I started getting into that and started really, I don't know, I guess I've always wanted to be in teaching or some type of avenue like that. I like talking. I like explaining things. I kind of got the taste for it early when I was in high school of coaching some things. And really, I guess my only advice if you want to talk about career advice and path advice, is I kept going back and didn't quit. I took a couple, I volunteered there for a while at Gardner Webb. I was, when I first started at Queens, I was just doing some volunteer stuff before they actually brought me on. I kept trying to stay after it and kept trying to stay involved. Wrestling fans know it just hooks you, and you can't, it gets its tentacles in you, and you can't get out. So, I knew that once my career was over, the only way I was going to be able to still be around it was to make sure that I was making other people's careers better.
I gotcha. Just to explain the process of how you kind of came and found Queens, because I know you started off an assistant before becoming the head coach for the 2018-19 season. How did that kind of manifest itself?
Really the internet and luck and chance and all that stuff. I had just moved out from my parents a couple years before, moved to Charlotte, trying to really get my name established in anything really at that point. I was doing some work with MMA people. I was doing some work with high schoolers. I was working at Starbucks. I was really just trying to do anything to make money. And at the time I literally lived, the apartment complex has actually been torn down now, but I lived about 5 minutes from Queens. And I knew who the head coach was that they hired originally. And so I just was like, all right, I'm going to go show up on the doorstep and see what they need and stay until they kick me out, basically. And that's kind of where we're still at with it. I'm going to keep staying until they kick me out. You said being from Gastonia is the truth. There's not a lot of people who get to say that they coach the sport that they love at the collegiate level, and then definitely fewer people than that say they get to do it about 30 minutes from where they grew up. My family being working class people, my parents now get to watch me coach and gets to watch our boys wrestle way more than they actually got to watch me compete. And so I love it. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. I imagine you have strong ties to this current group of guys. You guys just finished the regular season. Given that they were there from the beginning, from the start of this program, you kind of got to see them all develop. Got to see how much better they've gotten over the course of their careers, competing against higher competition. So what does that mean to you? Just being the head coach and the leader of a group of guys who you have to kind of see grow up.
Yeah, it's the whole, I guess you got the gambit of emotions. First off, I guess the thing that comes to the forefront is just pride in those guys, and pride at how far they've come. And how far I've come, I guess you could say what it is. The other, I guess, is a little bit of the regret of, you probably made some we all made some poor decisions because they were younger kids in their careers. I made some some not so smart decisions because I was a young coach, you know, and so we've all grown together with all that. I would say is where we're going with all this. And you know, lucky for me, I got some other guys that I keep getting to grow with, and we're just gonna, you know, I don't know how to say it. It's a special group, and I appreciate the patience they've had with me at least, with these things, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I always enjoy talking to you. Like, enjoy watching your guys compete. And it's just a pretty cool storyline to follow. You guys kind of all growing up together, first time head coach, and then first time all these guys competing in college. So I just think that's really cool.
I mean, I guess in the other word that comes into mind, it goes with all of them, my bosses, all of them. It comes in, you know, faith. Like I've luckily had a lot of people that have faith in me, that faith that I can see this thing through, and that gives me motivation, and that gives me, you know, just the drive to keep doing that and to keep better, you know. So not only do I want to get better for myself, but I'm trying to get better for everybody else around me too.
Absolutely. This has been the Queens men's wrestling head coach, Rob Tate. Thank you so much for coming on today, Coach. I really appreciate it.
Mike, it's always a pleasure, man.